So Blake and I were just talking about arrivals here at the G20. Take a look at this one last night. Chinese President Xi Jinping receiving an unbelievable red carpet welcome upon his arrival in Buenos Aires for the G20 summit. There was a marching band. Of course, these are put together by the Chinese, and they were all carrying both our Argentinian flags and Chinese flags. But really, put that aside. Put aside the perception. Everybody's waiting to see what really happens when Xi and President Trump get together for dinner tomorrow night. I asked U.S. Trade Representative Robert Lighthizer immediately after the signing this morning of the new U.S.-Mexico-Canada trade deal what he expected could even come from the Trump-Xi get-together. Here's his market-moving answer, quote, "I would be very surprised if the dinner wasn't a success. I absolutely feel there will be positive feeling at the end of the dinner." Now, I just want to let you know, he kind of paused there before saying the word feeling, which is a bit less definitive word than, say, agreement or deal. But what's really going to come out of Buenos Aires regarding China? President Trump's trade war with China, less than a year old, but the underlying problems are far older. Our next guest knows all about that. TJ Rodgers, co-founder of Cypress Semiconductor, joining us now. TJ, thank you for being here. Right off the bat, everyone's wondering what could even come out of tomorrow night's dinner.
Well, I think everybody's hoping that they come to some sort of deal, freeze the escalation of the tariffs, and we can start moving back toward life as normal. We all are free traders, and we know that's the best for both sides, and everybody's hoping that can happen. I'm not so sure it will happen that way.
Well, you've had your own problems, though, with Chinese meddling in the company that you co-founded, Cypress Semiconductor. This has been an issue for a long time. President Trump said past administrations have not done what it took. What needs to happen? What do you think is the number one thing? Because President Trump has said, you know what, we need to stop the forced technology transfer, stop the IP theft, things like that.
Yeah, and that to me is the biggest point. Trade is important, but in the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, it's one level below security and security of the process of running your country. You know, I'm a chip guy, right? But before, I was also the chairman of SunPower Corporation, one of America's top two solar companies. And the Chinese have absolutely decimated the solar industry, the panel-making solar cell industry in America. There are, only because of the tariff, there are like 2 plants that are left in the United States, and as soon as the tariff goes away, they'll die. So we need to talk with China about their behavior, about predatory behavior, about IP theft, and that needs to get put on the table first before we talk about what tariffs will be and how high or low they'll be.
We have seen the semiconductor industry, back to that, really do well since the tariffs have been announced. In fact, in the new recent list that came out, it was something like 200 pages. There were 90 separate individual lines that targeted tariffs on Chinese semiconductor problems that the U.S. perceives they have pulled off. What, if you had the president's ear, would you say to him to solve the overall trade situation that we have between us?
Well, I think he's approaching it, I'd say you're doing it the right way. Everybody knows, and I think you believe that too, that free trade is best for all in the long haul. But you have to disrupt it, you have to make a scene, you have to make a mess, and you have to get them to agree to alter the way they deal with us fundamentally before we can go on with life as usual. And you know, everybody complains about President Trump, and you know, he changes his mind, he says different things, but the fact is that uncertainty, I'm dealing with a guy that I can be volatile, that uncertainty is what forces people to take note and have to come to deal with us.
I absolutely agree with that. I think that this may really have China on its heels. TJ, it's great to see you all the way in California from here in Buenos Aires. Thank you very much.